Yo, what's going on? Misha here. Today's video, I'm going to be going over exactly how I would double my commissions in the next 30 days if my life depended on it. I want this video to be very actionable, no BS, so let's jump into it. First off, in the last 4 years, I have sold for 13 different high-ticket sales offers. This is in 8 different industries. I've taken over 10,000 sales calls, closed 1,900 deals over the phone, resulting in 3.3 million in total sales. Okay, not only have I been very successful personally as a closer, but I've also helped a lot of people do the same thing. So I've personally trained and managed 35 closers in our office here in Toronto, and I've also managed and trained 200, just over 200 remote closers working all around the world over Zoom calls. Okay. My sales teams have implemented the methods that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. And the stuff I'm going to be sharing has actually turned into standard practice in our agency, which has resulted in over 30 million in cash collected for the clients that we've sold for. Listen, I wanted to start out this presentation with proof because I've watched basically every high ticket sales channel that exists, and I've yet to find anybody with a track record even close to mine. And I really feel like it's my responsibility to hop on, make these presentations, and give you guys game because this stuff is actionable. This stuff has worked, and it's worked for a lot of people over a long period of time. So after 4 years in the trenches and after 4 years of generating millions in high ticket sales, taking a lot of calls, closing, not closing, making mistakes, adjusting, we've come up with a 4-stage process to increase any closer's performance within 30 days. And a lot of the times we use this stuff with reps who are brand new, even with no experience, just to get them up to performance ASAP. And we'll also use this stuff. We'll go back to the drawing board whenever someone's kind of cold, right? Whenever someone's entering a cold streak. You know, obviously in sales, commissions can go up and down. So we want that to be only going up. All right. So I do all this because I want you to skip the trial and error. You don't have to do the years and the tens of thousands of sales calls that I've done. All you got to do, watch this video and actually implement all of the steps that I go over. So pull out a pen and paper if you don't have it already. And let's dive in. So this presentation here today it's for anybody who's working in sales. If you're wanting to get into sales, or even if you're training for a role and you're preparing to do all of this, this is going to be really important so that you understand what you have to do to get an edge. Okay, my goal is to give you a step-by-step game plan so that anybody can just force your commissions to go up. Listen, before I get into the secret sauce that we use, let's talk about what stops salespeople from achieving true uncapped earning potential. I think the reason why I got into sales was because I wanted control over my income. Like I wanted to be able to set the income and go after big numbers immediately. I didn't want to have to wait years or wait for someone to give me a raise. Like I wanted it right away. And I think that control is what attracts most people to all this. However, very few people in sales actually have this kind of control over their income. Okay, for 3 reasons. Number one, lack of qualified leads. Most people their income is tied to their offer or the business they sell for and how many leads and how many qualified, good, warm leads actually come in. People have no control over that. 2 is going to be a lack of a predictable closing strategy, right? A process that you can replicate over and over and over that works. And also inconsistency, right? So like you see a lot of people who have really good months and really bad months, or really good weeks and really bad weeks. And there's no control over it. There's no consistency over it because there's no process attached to it. So most of you watching this video, you're probably dealing with at least one of these. And you probably think it's normal. Most people do. So you enter this cycle of like hoping that things get better with time, which they don't. Back in 2019, 2020, I was stuck in this exact cycle. And I would always think like, okay, hopefully tomorrow is a better day. Hopefully I get better leads tomorrow. Hopefully, okay, this was kind of a bad month. Hopefully next month is just going to be better. And then it never does. And at a certain point, I was stuck in that cycle and I got really frustrated about it. So I got extremely intentional. I made 4 specific changes over time that allowed me to increase my close rate from 20% to over 50%. Okay, since then, like I mentioned earlier, we've implemented all of this stuff as standard practice with all of our guys, allowing a lot of people to go on and earn multiple 6 figures. So these are the 4 steps, and we're going to be going very deep into each one. Like I said, I want to make this very tactical for you guys so you can implement it right away. So KPI tracking, this is the base to everything. Whatever you do not track will not grow, okay? Increasing the quality of your inputs, right? If there's a machine and there's things going into the machine and there's things coming out of the machine, we want to increase how many things go into the machine to produce what's coming out, which would be your commission checks, right? Increasing your close percentage, right? How many people do you actually close? Can you increase more? Can you close more people without increasing the amount of people you speak to? We're going to be talking a lot about that, and also the personal development side. Very important. So everything I share in this video requires absolutely zero skill, just to be clear. Like, all you have to do is act upon what I speak about in the video, and you'll start seeing results. First things first is tracking your KPIs, right? Here's the thing. The way you want to think about sales is you're an athlete, you're a professional, you're a performer, right? Most people working in sales, like, they'll know LeBron James and how many finals he's been to. They'll know Luka Doncic, his average scoring rate, but you don't even know your average close rate. You don't even know how many. If I asked you, hey, what was your total amount of book calls last week? You wouldn't even know, right? What was your show up rate? What's your close rate for the last quarter? You would have no idea, right? Meanwhile, you know these other people's numbers, but you don't even know your own, right? That's a massive problem. I was stuck in this cycle for a long time. The moment you start tracking your KPIs, one is you get clarity on exactly what's happening, where your weaknesses are, so that you can make adjustments. And two, you just start like looking at yourself as more of a professional, right? You just start taking your job a lot more seriously once you make a commitment to doing this. So something that Hormozi talks about is you can tell how good someone is at their job based on the quality and also the quantity of the stats that they track. This is a very loose quote, but I've heard Hormozi say it multiple times. You guys got to know your numbers, okay? What numbers do you need to know? Here are some of the big ones, okay? So first of all is total booked calls. How many booked calls do you get on your calendar every day, every week, every month? Okay, how many closing opportunities do you have, basically? What is your show up rate, right? So out of the amount of people who book with you, how many people actually attend the meeting, right? Your offer rate, right? So out of the people who attend the meeting, how many people do you actually pitch and present your product, offer, or service to? Your close rate. So out of those people, how many do you actually close? And close rate can be tracked differently. I tend to track close rate based on the total amount of show ups. A lot of people will do the total amount of offers, and then they'll like offer 2 people out of 10, and they'll close both. And then they say, oh, I have 100% close rate. Not really. You're lazy. You just don't close anybody that's not a laydown, right? So I would track this based on show up rate, but some people track it a little bit differently. And then EPL, right? So EPL is a metric that you want to track, especially for the marketing, right? So if your offer is spending $100 to put an appointment on your schedule, your earnings per lead would be how much revenue do you drive per appointment on your schedule. So if you have 10 book calls and you close $10,000 in sales, your earnings per lead is $1,000 based on 100% cost. It's pretty good, right? So how do you actually track this? Let's get into an example here. So here's a spreadsheet that I asked ChatGPT to make. So just to be clear, these aren't real numbers, but this will give you a good representation of a closer that's selling on a killer offer that's doing very well. So this is what it looks like: daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay, when you plot these metrics over different time periods, you're going to be able to see bigger trends. Every single day, you're going to set up your spreadsheet just like this with all of the metrics that I just spoke about, and you're going to be tracking this. Okay, every day you're going to take 2 minutes, put in how many book calls did you take, how many people showed up, how many people did you actually pitch, how many did you close, and how much revenue did you bring in, and as well as your EPL. Okay, you're going to do this every single day, and then you're going to notice, certain days it's way below average, or certain weeks it's way below average, right? So, like, for example, right here, on this given week, it was a 73% show up rate, when every other day is basically high 70s, right? Or every other week is high 70s. What the hell happened on this week where 10% people or 10% less people showed up for their calls? Right? There's an issue here, right? So now we can go back and we can look at, okay, how can we increase our show up rate, right? If we get, if in this case, right, it's a 40% close rate, basically. We're getting 73% of people to show up on 40 book calls. Let's say we bump this number up 10% and we get 4 more people to show up for calls. What that means is you're going to close at least 1 or 2 more deals which is going to result in an EPL, right? Let's say it's one more deal, just to be conservative. Let's say you get one more sale because you've increased your show up rate by 10%. You get one more sale because of it. You just brought in an extra $2,500 in revenue for your offer. And that should be an extra, 15% of that should be an extra commission that you earn, right? Okay, so all we got to do is figure out the show up rate. However, you would never even know this if you didn't take the time to track your metrics daily. Okay, guys, when I started doing this, it changed a lot. Okay, this is the base of everything that I speak about for the rest of the video. And then when you look at it monthly, you can see larger trends, right? So if your close rate is suffering, right? Like let's say there's a month where it's like a 30% close rate, right? It's like, what the hell just happened? Like maybe you broke up with your girl or something happened in your life and close rate just tanks. It's like, okay, moving into the next month, we're going to be taking actions and taking steps to increase that close rate. Okay. And then I also like to track this on a quarterly basis as well, right? So every 3 months. All right. Let's keep going here. So how do you actually influence these some of these metrics, right? Let's start with close rate, right? The amount of people that you actually close, right? The higher your close rate, the better you are at sales, basically. Okay, this is a very important metric. This is probably the number one metric that you want to keep your eyes on. This is kind of like points per game, if you're a basketball player, right? Super important. Or even more like field goal percentage, right? How efficient are you based on the amount of shots you take, right? So let's jump into it. First of all, a concept that I want you guys to understand, and this is something that like really early on really blew my mind. In sales, we have the exact same conversation over and over and over and over and over again, right? And we get to practice this conversation as much as we want. The prospect only has it once. Okay, your prospect isn't like practicing how to object to you. You're practicing how to handle their objection. The only reason why you wouldn't perfect this, honestly, is because you haven't taken the time to, or you don't know how to, right? It's either one or the other. So first of all, the first step that you want to do is use a proven framework. Okay, most people, they hop on calls and they're kind of just winging it. A lot of people use like very mechanical sales scripts, which I do not agree with at all. In my opinion, sales scripts, it makes a conversation very robotic. You can't choreograph a conversation with a unique human being, right? Especially in high ticket sales where, we're really trying to help somebody make a transformation, which is unique to them, and they have such a unique situation. It's impossible to script it out without sounding robotic, right? And people can sniff it out now, right? Like people know when you're not being real with them, you're not having a real conversation with them. It's very easy to tell, right? If I was scripting out this video right now, like you probably wouldn't be watching anymore, right? So what we've used since day one has been a 10-step framework where it's basically a set of 10 steps that we follow, where we're covering certain stages of a call, we're getting certain things done to basically guide our prospect to the conclusion that they need to take action now, right? Within these stages, it gives room for a closer to use their personality, to be themselves, to make adjustments based on the prospect's psychology and what they're motivated by and all these different things so that we can close consistently, right? So even this framework right now, really quickly, it's there's a link down below to this training right here. Okay, this is my partner Dylan. He's the one who actually invented this framework a long time ago, which has resulted in that 30 million in high ticket sales I mentioned earlier. Every single thing here on the left covers what we do, as well as the 10 steps, very in depth. So highly recommend you guys hit the link down below, pick it up completely for free. Just go get it. Now, moving forward here, there's something called an 80-20 rule in sales. Okay, 20% of the sales team will produce 80% of the results. 80% of the sales team will produce 20% of the results. Okay, it's not hard to be part of the 20%. And I'm going to be getting into steps that you can take to be a part of that 20%. Make sure that you're a part of it, right? Don't be one of the guys who are middle of the pack in sales. We get into sales to make a lot of money and to create real freedom for ourselves. So I just wanted to throw that out there, right? Certain people are going to produce most of the results. Be that person. How are you going to do that? First of all, with a daily reflection sheet, right? So like this 10-step framework is great. And this is a really good base, but you want to hone this thing in. Like you want to perfect it, right? And you want to know where you're messing up on certain stages. And if you make mistakes on your sales calls, that's okay. But if you don't make an adjustment, then it's a loss. If you lose a $100,000 deal, for example, but you learn a lesson from that deal that you never make that same mistake again, okay, you didn't lose the 15 grand in commissions, right? Because you're probably going to make more money because of the lesson that you learned. So let me jump into it here. This is something which is standard protocol with all of our reps. They fill this in every single day. Here's how you're going to use it. This daily tracker template, I'll link it down below so you guys can use it. This is going to give you clarity on your sales day, and it's going to allow you to make very specific adjustments so that every day you can get 1% better. Okay. The key with this is consistency. You use this for a week, for a month, for a year, you're going to make massive growth that most people, it would take them years to make that type of growth, right? But not you, because you're being very intentional about this and because I've told you how. All right. So how you're going to use this, first of all, every single day, start it out, date, goal for the day, amount of calls booked. You're going to write down a couple notes, couple thoughts, couple, actions for the day that you're going to implement, right? Every single lead that you speak to, you're going to write down their name right here. And then as you're going through your sales day, you're going to write down what happened on the call. Specifically, okay, if you don't close a deal, you're going to write down why you didn't close. If you do close a deal, you're going to write down why you closed them, right? That way we can lean into why we're closing people and we can make adjustments based on why we're not closing people. Most people don't do this. Most people do not do this. And then at the end of the day, they're like, oh man, the day wasn't great. The vibes weren't that good. Tomorrow I'm going to make it better, right? In this case, let me show you how you use this, right? So let's say you speak with 8 people, right? Out of these 8 people, right? Okay, this guy pitched, or this girl pitched 5K, think about an objection, had a bad experience with some other company, build better trust. Okay, so that's an example of a good note that you would put down, right? Okay, cool. Or if we go down here, here's another missed opportunity. Yellow will be missed opportunities. With Tom, he tried the business model that we're talking about before, spent a bunch of money, asked for testimonials at the end. He was probably concerned with, am I going to see results or not? Also a trust objection, right? Okay, cool. All right, we're going to note that. In this case, okay, closed 2 deals. This person, great intro, related to family struggles. Okay, nice. In this case, already had lots of trust with our company, built great rapport early, connected on lack of fulfillment. It's like maybe you told a story where it's like, hey, a long time ago, I was working this job and man, I hated it and it was stuck there for so long. And then at one point, man, I just decided I needed to make a change. At one point, I just got fed up with being fed up. And it seems like that's kind of what you're going through right now, right? Something like that. Like that can be really powerful on a call. And on this hypothetical day, it worked really well twice. So at the end of the day, and guys, bear with me. This stuff is gold. This stuff is going to change your life. This stuff is going to increase your commissions and make you so much money just by taking 5 minutes out of every single day to write all this stuff down and reflect on what you're actually doing. You're going to write down all your notes right here, your stats on the day. You're going to write down your positives. Okay. What did you do well? Why did you close these 2 people? Okay. You're going to write them down. EOD adjustments. Okay. EOD stands for end of day. What we're going to do is we're going to make an adjustment. These 2 leads that we did not close. If we're selling a 5K offer, we left $10,000 on the table. We left $1,500 in commissions on the table because we couldn't build any damn trust. What are we going to do tomorrow so that if we run into, Sally and Tom again, if we run into a very similar situation, how can we make sure that we close that deal? Okay. In this case, you're going to recognize the skepticism early, right? You're going to sniff it out. You're going to catch it really early in the call and make a point to relate to that skepticism. So maybe it's something like, if you notice that people are skeptical early, right? Cool, that's fine. Maybe you'll say something like, hey, and I just want to say, Mr. Prospect, it's crazy to me how there's so many people in the industry now that, they kind of do things in the wrong way and it puts a bad taste in your mouth, which stops you from, potentially taking massive action, which is unfortunate because there's a lot that's possible within the industry. But, I get where you're coming from. And it sounds like, you're on this call today because you're not looking for fairy tales and, promises, but you're looking for real results and you're looking to do this the right way. Am I hearing you correctly? Maybe something like that where I just level with my prospect and I make a point tomorrow to really do that, right? Okay, great. Guys, we do this every single day. We do that for a week, for a month. All of a sudden, we start closing more, okay? So I'll drop this down below in the description and you guys should be using that. Next, all right, shadowing top performers. This is how I learned sales in the beginning. I didn't have any formal training. I didn't have, videos like this to watch that broke everything down for me. I would literally just listen to people who were making more money than me, and I would just replicate what they were doing, right? So for example, Dylan, my mentor, now my business partner, I shadowed him in closing all the time, right? I would replicate his confidence, right? The way that he would hold himself and carry himself on a call. Like I would literally copy that. His tonality, the certain things and phrases and ways he would position certain things. Like I was just listening to his calls and I would just go and copy it and make it my own thing, right? I also have, the reason why I have this here, I have live sales calls on my channel. I actually have 2 live sales calls. I have this one, and then I also have a $25,000 deal, which I closed on a cold call, which you guys can check out as well, right? So whether it's somebody in person, whether it's my YouTube videos or someone else's videos, it's like surround yourself with really good sales. If you have somebody on your team, if there's someone on your sales team who's making triple the amount of commissions that you're making, it's like ask them, hey, can I just like hop in on a Zoom and shadow you on 1 or 2 of your calls? Like that, don't be afraid to do that. Like you'll make more money by doing it, right? So 3 big things that you can do to increase your closing percentage. One is use a proven framework and really master it, like really get it tight, because you don't want to be all random on your calls. Like you want to follow a specific process that works every single time, right? You want to have daily reflection, right? So every single day you should be making intentional changes to what you're doing on your calls, getting 1% better every day so that you can triple your close rate by the end of the year, and shadow top guys, okay? Next, increasing your inputs, right? Getting more swings at the bat, basically. So let's talk about how you can do that. 3 ways that you can get more swings at the bat, right? Listen, your close rate might be kind of low. If you have a 10% close rate, if you speak to more people and get in front of more people, you're going to make more money, even if you suck at sales. We had a dude in our office a long time ago. Quick story. We had a guy his name was Harpinder. He went by the name Happy, right? Dude, he had like kind of a crazy background. He was coming off like a bad drug addiction. What happened was he had a kid and he got his life together quick, and he got into sales right after. So he ended up at our office and we brought him on board. He was literally just pounding leads. He was just pounding dials, doing straight volume. I would hear him on calls and it was bad. It was bad. Like he had insane energy, like way over the top, like to a point where it was just too much. He was doing like 200-300 dials every single day, like just ramming the phones. 0 skill, all work ethic, all energy. And like he was at a point where he was closing 2, 3, 4K a day, like consistently. Like he was making 8, 9, 10 grand a month in commissions, 0 skill, all inputs. Imagine if you actually have some skill and you have that level of input. Okay, so let's talk about how. First of all is your show up rate. So increasing the amount of people that actually show up for calls. That's probably the easiest thing you can do. Thank you, Aman. 2 is nurturing your follow-ups, right? So deals that don't close on the first call, making sure that you capitalize on, people who are in the pipeline. Then also your dials, right? Speaking to more people. Let's get into it. First of all, increasing your show up rate. 3 things you can do to get more people to show up for your meetings. First of all, before we get into it, show up rate. Think about it like this, and we kind of spoke about an example before, right? If you have 10 book calls a day, and 5 people show up, 5 people don't show up, they ghost you for the meeting. Okay, cool. Let's say you have a 50% close rate. Figure out a way to get 2 more people to show up for the call, and you've just made an extra sale every single day, right? But again, most people don't track it, and most people don't really know how to increase the show up rate, right? So easiest thing that you can do to get more people to show up is increase the amount of calendar slots that you have, right? So rather than every half hour have a booking, right? So like rather than having a 3 and a 3:30 available, you're going to set up your calendar account to have 3, 3:15, 3:30, and 3:45 available, right? That way it'll fit with more people's schedules. And also people are just more likely to show up for a 3:15 meeting than they would be for a 3 p.m. meeting, right? Don't ask me why, but they are. That's proven. 2, text your leads the moment they come in and don't be beg, right? So you get a notification on your phone, email just comes in, somebody just booked for tomorrow. Cool. Send them a text as soon as you can. Say, and don't be like, what a lot of people do is they'll be like, hey, Joe, exclamation point, super excited for our meeting tomorrow, saw you just booked in, can't wait to chat more. right? Like that kind of scares people away, right? Like that's too much. One. Two is it's inauthentic. Like you're not super excited for another call. Like it's like, oh, nice, an extra call. Like if you start putting exclamation points and being overly enthusiastic, like that's just gonna weird people out. And three, okay, you hit someone with, hey, can't wait to chat tomorrow. So excited to help you make a change in your life. And then they respond with, okay. Boom. Now you've just completely lowered your frame. And now you're starting out your sales call tomorrow at a disadvantage. So many people do this and it blows my mind. Like literally just send out a text. Hey, John, period. Misha here. Notice you're booked for tomorrow. All set for that meeting? That's it. Okay, and then the next day, the day of the booking, if they didn't respond, I would just drop a, hey, John, just double confirming here. Right? Or John, question mark? Like literally the minimum amount of words. Just keep it chill, keep it light, just be real. People will show up as long as you're taking that time to send out the text. Now, follow-ups. Okay, listen, I think Grant Cardone was the one who coined the term, the fortune is in the follow-up. I disagree with that. I think the fortune is in the follow-up if you're not able to close on the very first meeting. Okay, especially in our space. There's no reason why you shouldn't be closing people on the first call a majority of the time, but there's always going to be like 10, 20% of people who you got to follow up with, right? There's some kind of payment issue or they got to get money together or whatever, right? So, okay, they need time. They need a week, right? Lock in a date and time on the call with them and lock it in hard. So how you would do it would be, okay, cool. So you said you need about a week. Gotcha. I'm just looking at my calendar here. Thursday, does like morning or afternoon work for you? Okay, nice. I can fit you in at either 1 p.m. or I could also do 4. What do you think would work better for you? All right. Okay, great. I'm just going to shoot you over a calendar invite. By the way, would there be like any crazy reason why you wouldn't be able to show up for that call? No? Okay, cool. I can lock you in. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I just mentioned this because we usually get slammed out and I just want to make sure that, we can be productive there. Great, right? Lock it in. Awesome. You've set the follow-up for the next week. Give value in the meantime. So even for me, like we have a training program where we bring people in, work with them one-on-one, get them really good at sales so that we can place them with really high quality online offers. It's an expensive program, right? If there's a follow-up for that, what I usually do is I'll be like, hey, don't worry about it. I will pull up literally this. I will send it to them because I want them to spend the next 3 weeks getting their mind blown with a bunch of value, right? Because it's one thing for me to promise a bunch of results. It's another thing for me to give you 20 hours of sales training for you to go through, build a relationship with me virtually, see what kind of value and see what we're all about. And then we're going to be good, right? The thing with follow-ups is, like especially when we're in high ticket sales, it's like, it makes sense. Like people get cold feet, right? Like people are like, a week goes by and they're like, do I want to spend $25,000 on this offer? I don't know, right? Doubt starts creeping in, whatever. And then they don't end up taking action, right? So no matter how expensive your program is, you're always going to be giving value in the meantime. Give something, right? If you don't have something to give, talk to your manager, talk to your business owner or whoever is, a leader at your company, find something to send out, right? So whether that's free access to something, whether that's videos. I used to send out a lot of articles. So when I was selling e-commerce coaching for, some of our clients in the past, what I would do, especially like before, like around like the end of summer, fall, I would send out this one article to everybody talking about Q4 sales and how e-commerce sales just blow up in Q4 around Christmas time, right? And I'll be like, hey, I just ran across this article. I just wanted to send it over. I think it'll be really valuable for you, right? Add in a little bit of urgency. They're like, oh shit, I gotta move. It's Q4 coming up. I got to get ready so that I can take advantage of all the Christmas sales, right? You can send out testimonials as well, right? Hey, we just had a massive win inside of our community. I just wanted to send it over to you. Joe's situation really aligns with what you got going on. So I think you should check this out, right? You can do that. You can even throw up a selfie video. 99% of people won't do it, but pull out your phone, speak to it, say, hey, Misha here, just wanted to drop you this video, put a face to the name and let you know that I'm not hiding behind a phone. I'm a real person. Here's my office. Look how dope it is. By the way, I just wanted to let you know, man, I got your back. If you have any questions until our meeting on Monday, let me know. Happy to clarify anything. Looking forward to chatting soon. Right? Like something like that just sets you apart, takes you 10 seconds, and it's going to allow you to make probably 10 to 30% more every single month. Okay, most people are going to be too lazy and they're not going to do it, but that's not you though. You're trying to get rich, you're trying to do some big things, all right? Next, dials, okay? Like I mentioned, that example with Harpinder, this is all he was doing. And this is how he got to 8, 9, 10 grand a month. For some of you, this is all you need to do is just talk to way more people, right? Right here at the bottom, do twice as much dials as the top guy on your team. Figure out how much the top guy is working and how many people he's speaking to. Make a decision. Hey, I'm going to do twice the amount of work as that guy because he's more skilled. You're not. You have to do the extra work to catch up. But over the course of a year, you're going to get to that same skill level because you have twice the amount of experience, right, in that same time frame. So a couple things, redial your no-shows. So anybody who doesn't show up for your meetings, just change the color of your calendar events on your Google Calendar. And then just whenever you have free time, go back, call them up a couple times, send them a text. Lead sheet. What I used to do, and most of the offers that we sell for, we help them build out their funnels this way because it's worked very well. So any like high ticket offer, just a little bit of context, any high ticket offer typically has a front end offer. So like, for example, we had a client that was selling a $17 front end, and then there was like a $200 upgrade, and then they would book a call. Right. So every day back then I was literally getting 20 book calls a day. It was crazy. From 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I was literally taking back-to-back calls for 12 hours straight. And then on top of that, whenever I would have some free time, I would have a list of 50 to 100 people who spent anywhere between $20 to $200 already. And I'll just call them up. Hey, Misha from XYZ company. I noticed you picked up the course. Just wanted to see if I could better support you. Right. And I was able to create extra conversations, build extra relationships, close more deals. Okay. Any solid high ticket offer that has a solid funnel is going to have tons of extra leads that aren't being called. Call them within 24 hours of them opting in or purchasing. You're going to get a lot of sales with that. Also, track total dials and talk time. We have a friend. He actually came out to our last event that we did in Miami. He used to do sales for Grant Cardone, doing like 700-800 grand a year. And one of the things that he would pride himself on was increasing his talk time. Like he was the leader of Grant's team with talk time, the amount of hours and minutes that he would spend on the phone with prospects, right? And he's making 700-800 grand a year, right? So like that's something that you can probably add to your KPI tracking sheet. Track that metric. That's an important one. How long do you actually spend on the phone, right? Some people say, oh yeah, I work 12 hours a day. Meanwhile, they're like scrolling Instagram for 4 hours of that. You know, and they're fucking around and they're grabbing coffee and they only spend 2 hours a day on the phone, right? So that's something to track to see how productive you actually are, right? So to recap, 3 inputs, guys. Increase your show up rate, right? Get more people to show up for calls, right? Again, open up more calendar slots, just text them, very simple stuff. Nurture your follow-ups, right? So get like 1 or 2 assets or videos or things that you can give to your prospects to add value to them. And increase your dials, talk to more people, figure out a way to get on the phone for longer, and you'll probably make more money. Very simple. Now, personal development. I saved the best for last. Guys, taking personal development seriously is what completely changed my life. This is what took me from being I got into sales at 18, right? I was a fucking loser. Like I was broke. I was, frauding Uber Eats because I literally could not afford to order food at the time. Like I was eating once a day. I was smoking weed all the time. Like it was bad, right? And then I got into sales to make a change. There was a point in my career, and this is kind of the inspiration of the whole video. This is that moment when I got very intentional with all of these things, especially my personal development. What happened is there was a month where I was cold. I was at the bottom of the board. I was frustrated. I saw a lot of my peers and a lot of the guys in the office outclosing me, and it like pissed me off. Like I'm naturally competitive, and like it really made me upset, and I wanted to do something about it. But the problem is like sales never like really came naturally to me. Like I was never like a super outgoing, charismatic person, but I was a hard worker, right? So that's what frustrated me is I was outworking everybody, but my results didn't really line up. So what I did is I asked myself this question right here. This question changed my life. Ask yourself, what are the habits of the version of yourself that's making the kind of money that you want, right? Whether it's 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 100, a million a year, whatever, right? What are the habits of the version of yourself that's earning the amount of money that you want to make? Pull out a piece of paper and write this down. Take a day just to really think about this and really reflect on what are the habits of that version of yourself. Here's what you're going to do, right? You're going to write down the habits of that version, right? You're going to write down, okay, what does his fitness look like? How is he learning? How is he growing? What does his relationship look like with his family, with his friends? What time is he waking up every single morning, right? What are his internal thoughts? What's the internal dialogue? What does that look like, right? Like, go as deep as you can, write it all down, and then act on those things. Like, start taking on those habits. You can be fucking broke. You can be homeless. You can be in the most craziest situation. Start acting on the habits of the version of yourself that you're trying to become. And what happens is you start becoming that person and the results start coming to you. Okay. And this is exactly what I did. And I'm going to share with you guys the exact steps that I took to step into the version of myself I wanted to be so that I could start seeing the results that I wanted to see. Okay. 3 big areas of improvement for sales specifically. I'm sure there's more, but these are the 3 big ones. Fitness and mindset, okay? Your intelligence and your business acumen, as well as your self-image, okay? So first of all, fitness, right? This was the first change that I made, right? I was pissed off, wanted to make more money. I was, trying, I was listening to my sales calls, I was putting in a lot of work, wasn't seeing the results. I told myself, you know what? Let me try something different. Let me wake up every single morning at 6 a.m., let me get to the gym by 6:30, get a workout in before a lot of people even wake up. Let me do that every single day. And I just knew that would give me a mental edge over all the other guys in the sales office. And it would also give me a mental edge over my prospects, right? It gives me a little bit of confidence. When you make a commitment to do something that's hard, right? When you make a commitment to do this in the morning, especially, this is why I say morning, because it's fitness and mindset, right? We're trying to get jacked. Sure, that's great. In reality, we're trying to develop that iron mindset, right? When you do it in the morning, when you make a commitment, I'm going to do something that I do not want to do every single day. I'm going to do something that I don't have to do, but I'm going to do it for the sake of doing it. All of a sudden, that's going to make you stronger, okay? Whenever you get hit with crap or stress or anxiety or whatever, you're just gonna eat it. Like, you're just gonna take it, and it's not gonna phase you as much as it would because you started your day with something that's hard. Okay, if you guys can make a commitment to do this 5 to 6 days a week, whether that's in the gym, going on a walk, running, whatever, it's going to give you an edge. And over time, it's going to give you more energy. You guys already know you should be doing this if you're not already doing it. Okay, next is your intelligence. Okay, I got into sales at 18, college dropout, didn't know anything, skipped all my classes, barely made it through them. Within a year of me dropping out and getting into sales, I was closing $25,000 and $50,000 deals with 8 and 9-figure entrepreneurs. No bullshit. Within a year, I was already doing that. How? Why was I able to do that? Because I took my learning very seriously, right? I was like, okay, hey, if I dropped out, I need to learn somehow. I need to be taking in the right information, right? So first things first is you want to replace your entertainment with education, right? Replace the video games, replace the Netflix, replace the mindless scrolling with learning. Right? If you can trick your brain to start having fun and enjoying learning, that is a cheat code. That is literally a fucking cheat code. If you can start taking in information that's going to make you more money for fun, you're going to get ahead of everybody else. Everyone is so dopamine freaking infested with a bunch of crap and garbage. It's just going to get you ahead, right? In the beginning, it's going to be kind of hard. It's going to be kind of painful. It's going to be boring, but trick yourself, right? So books, podcasts, YouTube videos just like this, where you can sit down and learn. There has never been a time where there is more information out there. It's insane to me. You got literally the most successful people in the world sitting down for 3-hour podcasts, all over the internet, an endless amount of that. You can sit down and listen to that every single day. You can listen to people who are worth billions of dollars, listen to their mindset, how they think, how they make decisions, how they think through problems, right? And what's going to happen is you have to be at a certain point, you have to know things to be of value to other people, right? If you want to close deals, if you want to influence people to take massive action and spend a lot of money with you, you have to know something that they don't. That's the only way you're ever going to close a deal, right? So if you want to close, especially sophisticated people who have a lot of money, it's you really got to focus on learning a lot about a lot of different topics, right? Not just business, but other things as well. And then that's going to allow you to close more, right? So masterminds and networking events, that's something that I took a lot more seriously recently over the past like year, I would say. I wish I was doing it like earlier on. This is something you definitely like. Events, networking, just get out, just go. Surround yourself with people who are on a higher level than you. See how they walk, how they talk. Get yourself in those rooms, have those conversations. What's going to happen when you do these two things is when you focus on learning, becoming smarter, and becoming stronger, having a better fitness and having a stronger, more powerful mindset. The way you see yourself is just going to go way up. You're going to have so much higher confidence. And when you're on a call, you're going to be able to present yourself as an absolute expert, a professional, and most importantly, you're going to create this aura where people just want to work with you, right? So one of the first things that I tell new trainees is people don't buy your product. They buy you, right? Whether they like you, they want to be like you, or they are like you. For one of those three reasons, that's why they're going to buy. Okay, so start investing in you, start developing you, and all of a sudden people are going to start buying from you more. Okay, you're going to make more money and it's going to be great. So quick key point here. This is what changed it all for me. Okay, so once you start acting like the person you want to be, right? Once you start taking on the habits of the person that you are trying to become, all of a sudden you're naturally going to start seeing the results that that person would see. Okay, you're going to start seeing yourself in a higher light. You're going to have increased confidence. And your prospects will feel it. It'll register within 5 seconds of you even speaking to them. Okay. And that's going to make them pay you. And as a result, you're going to have more results. You're going to have more conviction. You're going to be like, and this is exactly what happened for me. I was like, holy shit. I started doing the gym. I started learning. I started taking the personal development seriously. I started making more money. I'm like, this works. Let me keep fucking doing it. Right? I'm stacking up wins over time. You do this over a long time frame. You just become obsessed with the personal development. You're making more money as you do it. And it's this crazy upward spiral that you start putting yourself on, right? Most people think, and what I used to think was, oh, I'll be confident when I have this, or when I make this amount of money, or I'll be able to close big deals once I do that, right? But the reality is you need to develop the self-image of a winner before you start winning in order to win. Okay, you need to develop that self-image before you see any results. People are waiting for like the external thing to develop that self-image. You need to develop it internally first before you start getting the external things, and then you'll win, right? Don't let this go over your head, guys. So that's what I got for you guys. That is exactly how you're going to increase your close rate. All right. Here's how I can help. Listen, I'm not going to hit the gym for you. I'm not going to read the books for you. I'm not going to do the dials. I'm not going to close the deals for you. However, what I can do for you is give you access to all of the stuff that I shared in this video. So I'm going to be giving you access to this down below. It'll be linked in a Google Sheet, and you guys can, I believe if it's shared, you can go here, make a copy, make your own version of it. Okay. Do the same thing with this KPI tracking sheet as well. Start tracking your KPIs. And I'm also going to give you access to this free training. Just link down below. I'll ask you for your email just so I know where to send it. And just like that, you're going to be all set. Okay. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a comment down below with your biggest takeaway. And I'll see you on the next one.